We're talking about the priest and king, right? Zadok, Melchi, right? Priest king is a Prester John. John means king or Wang. In the Mongol talk, Wang, Ong, John. Or like the Spanish, Latin say, Juan, right? Like Juan, Juan is this king. Juan, John, Wang, Wang. And then you got the Khan or the priest or the Zedek, who what? His desires what the Creator desires. What's the Creator desire? KTC, that means keep the code. For the children of Israel shall abide many days, without a king, without a prince, without a sacrifice, without image. And afterwards shall the children of Israel return, seek the Lord their God, or the Creator, their Abba. When you seek HaWah, you are now seeking to be one with HaWah. You're seeking to walk side by side, you know what I'm saying? Which means that you're keeping the commandments, you're keeping the code that the Creator has laid out, the KTC. Once you're KTC, you search for ThaWaDa, because you went through the Creator first. That's your checkpoint before you can even get to your things, your priesthood that contain what? The sacrifice, or the prince, or the king, or the image. So Hosea 3 is clearly saying that once we are back in code, we'll have our image back. Once we seek HaWah and David, their king, and shall fear or respect or obey or come trembling, different translations. You know, I like to say respect, because once you respect, you're going to listen. Sometimes, you know, the Creator got to get his respect. Mama got to get her respect, you know what I'm saying? But you will respect, and then you will KTC. You'll start to seek. But they've already been seeking, in memory of those seafarers who seeked or searched for Prester John for 500 years, and you're just now waking up, because this is where we pick up at. We pick up right here. Afterward, after what? After you've gone many days without a king, without your queens. That's why we dig on the Tamar drop and the Sheba drop, and you see how it correlates and come together. How powerful our aquas and ox are, man, side by side. So, you know, we need each other. Case in point, simple and plain. But we can't have that. We can't have that unity, man, until afterward. We seek, we get KTC. We keep our code for real, for real. Then David becomes what we are seeking. Now they're just trying to beat us to the punch, right? They're trying to get the drop before we, afterward, return and get the drop. By the time they're seeking Prester John, we're falling off. They're just popping off. And where do they go to find them? British Museum. In the British Museum, this MS map showing connections between Marco Polo's Asia and the New Lands, or America. Marco Polo's Asia contains Cathay. Cathay is the Marco Polo's China, and this is Marco Polo's Asia, right? The connection between these new lands that contain what? Prester John. So when they went to Ethiopia, that's not over here unless this is Ethiopia, according to the same author. Ronald Sanders, you know, Ethiopia is a vague title for black people, dark-skinned people, wherever they are. Ethiopia of the Orient and Ethiopia of the West. You know what I'm saying? Either way, you have melanated Nagas. We'll We'll cover a little bit of that again, man, but let's go. So they're searching. They're seeking for the what? Well, now, your KTC, first you seek HaWah, then you have to seek what this image is really about. And we're not talking about an image that you worship. We're talking about your nobility, your image of noble, your image of being the head and not the tail. This is you. Nothing outside of you that you're pulling in to the picture to worship. No, this is you. This is the noble image of the Negro. But you don't get that. You go many days without that. Then you wakey, KTC, seek HaWah, and we. Wakey, KTC, seek HaWah, and King Day, we. There, Khan. Then you come with respect in the latter days back to HaWah. Last noble image, where's your king? So the Portuguese who've been searching, right, 500 years, you gotta factor in the fountain of youth if you're looking for somebody for 500 years. You gotta factor in this title, these nobles, these prestes, these khans, these Dawi, these Shebas, these Tamars, you know what I'm saying? These Khalifas. So the Portuguese continue to refer to this real life monarch, they say, in Ethiopia, Lebna Dangu, as Prester John. In spite of everything, it is unbelievable how many people always travel with the court for a distance of 3 or 4 leagues from each place at which they break camp. The people are so numerous and so close together they look like a procession of Corpus Domini in a great city. The 10th part of them may be well-dressed people, the 9th part common people, both men and women, young people and poor, some of them in skins and other in poor clothes, and all these common people carry with them their property, which all consist of pots for making wine and pouring juice for drinking. If they move short distances, these poor people carry with them their poor dwellings made and thatched as they had them. And if they go further, they carry wood, the wood that is some poles. Rich men bring very fine tents. I do not speak of the great lords and great gentlemen, because each of these moves a city or a good town of tents and loads of people on mules, a matter without numbering or reckoning. I do not know what to say of those on foot. We Portuguese often talked of these mules because in the winter the court does not move with less than 50,000 mules, and from upwards they might reach 100,000. 100,000 mules are most impressive, but not in the way of the same number of cavalrymen, such as the legendary Prester John brought in his train. It was this mission that finally learned the whereabouts of Puro da Kovinhan, who had not been heard from since his parting from Rabbi Abraham at Ormuz. Nearly 30 years before, he was living in Ethiopia as a courtier to the king, a kind of Marco Polo of the south. But with one important difference, he was not permitted to leave. He told his whole story to Alvarez how in 1493, all right, this is 1 year after they found you and me, right? 1 year after this whole Iberia more situation, right? He traveled by land until he reached the Prester John. Ain't no play. So when we're searching for Prester John, we know that there's many going under this title. We're trying to put our story together. The only way to do that is to read, right? The only way to do that is to connect and sever the dots. And when you find that real vibration, then you connect that into, more of a realistic timeline. Factoring in the 3 major chronological time shifts, of course. Flamenco. So he reached Prester John. It says how in 1493, Now we're under the impression that Genghis Khan, you know what I'm saying, invaded 1202. That means there's still Nagas going under this title in 1493, including, Genghis in there. He was going under the King David title as well. And he came to the court and gave his letters to King Alexander, who was then reigning. And he said that he received them with much pleasure and joy, and said that he would send them to his country with much honor. About this time he died, and his brother Nahum reigned, who also received him with much favor. And when he was asked leave to go, he would not give it. And Nahum died, and his son David let Nadangal reign, who now reigns. And he says he also asked for him leave for leave, and he would not give it. All right, so these presidents said, look, man, I ain't gonna let you go because you just gonna tell everybody all our business. We can't let the op leave, man. Can't give up. You can't blow up our spot. So he wouldn't give it, saying that he had not come in this time, and his predecessors had given him lands and lordships to rule and enjoy, and that leave he would not give him. So he said, man, we gave you lots of lands, we gave you titles. No, you can't go. You can't go. And so he remained. Alvarez added his own observation, saying that Covilhan, quote, was given a wife. He was given women, riches, and land. But you can't blow up our spot, man. You can't give up our location. With very great riches and possessions, he had sons by her, and we saw them in our time. When he saw that he wanted to leave, a passionate desire to return to his country came upon him. He went to ask leave of the prester, and he went with him. And we urged it with a great insistence and begged it of him, yet no order for it was ever given. So far as is known, Covilhan ended his days in Ethiopia. He too was a living symbol of the demystification of the East, ending like the legend of Prester John in the Abyssinian dust. With that legend went, for the time being, all hope of a noble image of the Negro. So he ain't just talking about this Lebna in Ethiopia. We're saying, what? That the demystification ended like the legend of Prester John. We're talking about the entire legend. We're talking about everything you thought you remembered. We're talking about the last noble image of the priest king. Just enjoying a nice little victory lap, man. We over here making victory laps, man. We're gonna keep the victory lap going. I like checking back in for the victory lap. All right, my niggas. So with that legend, with the legend of our priest king, Prester John, right? Khan David went for the time being all hope of a noble image of you, Negro. You have no more image. HaWah done told you that you'll abide many days without a king, without a prince, without sacrifice, without an image. Oh boy, they were searching 500 years for the image. You can't let these Nagas have an image. If the Naga have an image, here comes the Naga King. You know what I'm saying? Here come the royals. Matter of fact, here come HaWah. And how does HaWah come? Smoke out of his nostrils, fire out of his mouth. But afterward, after our punishment, HaWah is redeeming the tribe, because the tribe is now KTC. They are seeking, they are meditating on the commandments, the law of the Creator.